Guys, so this week I read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman and really enjoyed myself. It's a book that follows Richard, who is basically a normal office worker, and his life gets turned upside down when he meets Dor, who's from London Below. And when he saves her from two assassins, he gets dragged into the world of London Below. And this book sort of follows their adventures with a few other people, and then trying to solve the reason why she's being hunted down by two assassins, basically. And it sort of explores the entirety of London Below, and how it ties in with this world, and how everybody sort of deals with it, and it's a really good book. The reason why I picked this up in the first place, actually, was because I'd heard of the radio play quite a lot, because I did radio plays last term in my uni, and I'd heard a lot about it, and quite a few of my favourite actors are in it, but I'd never actually listened to it, because I'm really slow on the uptake on these things, I'm afraid, and I take forever to get round to these things. So I'd always wanted to actually listen to it, but then I saw the book and I went, well, sod it, I may as well just read the book instead of listening to the radio play, because the radio play probably had taken a whole load of stuff out, I don't know. But it was completely different from what I was expecting. Half the characters who I had imagined were completely different from how I actually saw them in, like how they actually appeared in the book, which was quite odd, but it was quite nice at the same time. And all of my preconceived notions about this were completely off the mark. I was thinking this was going to be really phantasmagorical and really hard to understand and all the rest of it, and to get my head around, but it really wasn't. Instead, it was more like how Terry Pratchett is, but less funny and based solidly in this world, based on real places, and it was just the fact that the real places have been twisted slightly to make it all a bit odd. So places like Earl's Court is actually a train in London Below that holds an Earl's Court, and the Earl is in there with a whole load of people like court jesters and all the rest of it, which is mad, to be honest, but absolutely brilliant as a character. And like, there's so many really fun characters in this, and you've got like two assassins running around who have a really macabre sense of humour, which really appealed to me, actually. And they're not what you expect, but they're also entirely as you expect, if that makes sense. They're wonderfully creepy, but you're really endeared to them quite a lot because of how they're described and how they talk and all the rest of it, especially if you have the macabre sense of humour that I do. And you get pulled into their story, you get pulled into Hunter's story, who is literally a hunter and the best hunter of the entirety of London Below. You get pulled into Richard's story, Dor's story, the Angel of Islington as well, who is literally a fallen angel, who I won't tell you any more about because that's spoilers. But he was really cool. Well, it was really cool, actually, because they're an angel, can't call it a he. Just because Peter Capaldi played him in the TV show, can't call him a he. But it was really well written and really sort of... what I really loved about this was that it was based thoroughly in London, and you could tell it was thoroughly London based, and that Neil Gaiman had done a hell of a lot of research into London, because everything is based mostly on the train map and the tube map. So if you know the London train and tube maps well, you'll really enjoy this, because it sort of gives a completely different perspective on these maps and these places, because of what happens in these places in the book, which is really cool. And I really enjoyed that sort of thing, because it sort of gave everything a bit more of a sort of grounding to it. Like, the next time I go to Earl's Court, I'm going to be thinking of the Earl's Court in the book and the train going through that holds the Earl's Court. Or if I ever go to Blackfriars, I'm going to be thinking of the monks who live under the Blackfriars in London, and it's all based entirely in London, and you get to see the British Museum, the massive gunship on the Thames, and lots of mentions of the Thames, and all the rest of it. You see all of these things and what happens in the London below it, and it sort of gives you a hell of a lot of perspective on London itself, on London below, and all the people who live there, because you expect slightly... London's an incredibly multicultural place, but the London below is even more so, because you have fallen angels, people who can talk to rats, hunters, assassins, people who can open doors at will with just their mind and stuff like this. And it's beautifully twisted but wonderfully grounded in this world at the same time. So you sort of see everything as it is, but it's described so normally that it feels like this is what's actually going on underneath London right now, and I really like that. And I love how grounded it was in truth and how real it felt the entire way through. And while it wasn't funny like Terry Pratchett, it was very good and very well written and very much reminded me of Terry Pratchett, which was really nice because I'm still making my way through Terry Pratchett, and this was sort of like a little bit of a serious respite of it, which was really nice and really cool. And I just generally really loved the book. I really loved all the characters in it. I loved how everybody sort of interacted with each other. I loved all the plot twists and betrayals and how everybody was portrayed and all the rest of it. And even with all of the sort of character point of view changes, it worked better than it did in Hold Me Closer Necromancer. I think this is definitely how you do the character point of view changes, because this still dumped you in the middle of the story, sort of, but it explained it in such a way that it didn't feel like you were in the middle of the story. It felt like you knew these characters for ages and you knew everything about them and everything, and it felt real and good, and everything sort of twisted together beautifully so it all made sense and everything came together, and everything in this book was entirely necessary, and it was just, I just really enjoyed it. And I loved how everything sort of really came together and there were no questions afterwards apart from, can I go to London below? And it was just, in short, I just really enjoyed this actually, and I think everybody who really likes London would really enjoy this as well. Or if you're just a fan of books that sort of base themselves in this world while not being in this world, sort of. If you like books like that, you'll really enjoy this, because that's basically what this is. It is London, but twisted. And that really appealed to me, and I think it appealed to a lot of people. I'd definitely say that you have to read this at one point in your life, and then go to London afterwards, because you'll never see London the same again actually afterwards, because it's just so odd and out there but still so grounded in it that it feels like there is actually a London below with Earl's Court and all the rest of it, and a beast underneath with an angel of Islington underneath, and it's just, I just really enjoyed it basically. There's no other words apart from to say that I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do too, because it's a really good book and I really thoroughly enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this review, please give me a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of my reviews, please click subscribe, that'd be great. And if you enjoyed this book, please tell me down below, because that'd be awesome as well. And I think that's about it for this week actually, so until next time guys, bye!